Hey guys, today I've got the rest of that Micky Minhas interview that I promised you. I'm telling you, man, he really dropped a lot of gems, and even he gave me a lot a lot to think about. So this is the episode to watch. Enjoy. Sitting down. So hey guys, it's me again. So we're at the end of day 3. You're on camera now. Welcome back.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you. I mentioned that you were formerly with Microsoft.
Right.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you did there?
Sure. Yeah, so for a little more than 8 years, I was Chief Patent Counsel at Microsoft. So, led a large team of attorneys, paralegals, engineers, and we really dealt with all facets of a patent business for a company the size of Microsoft. So that's filing patents, getting them issued, and so on. Also dealing with inbound inquiries when other companies thought we might be infringing their patents, so we'd have to deal with that. And then we also had an outbound licensing program where other companies were taking a license from Microsoft intellectual property. So those were all sort of the components of it, and dealt with acquisitions, purchased Nokia, purchased LinkedIn. So there's a lot of intellectual property issues when you buy, sort of big companies like that, and you're integrating them into one.
Remarkable. So what? How about now? What is it that you're doing now?
So I work for Marconi, and
Okay.
we are a company that really works on kind of optimizing issues around licensing. Myself and the folks that I work with, we have backgrounds. I just described my background at Microsoft, but the others here have sort of similar backgrounds, but for different companies, for Ericsson and Nokia and Qualcomm and Motorola, Google and Samsung. And so collectively, I think over the years we've sort of recognized some of the more difficult parts of patent licensing, and frankly, we just think things can be better and things can be easier. And so we work on lots of solutions around that between licensors and licensees. So sometimes we're helping licensors in areas where they need help, and sometimes we help licensees in areas where they need it as well.
So and what would you say prepared you most for the career path that you've landed on?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I can't say that it was, something that I anticipated to land where I'm landing today, right? It's kind of a twisty, turny road, and but I think there's a few things that really matter. One is, sort of doing good work at each stage of career. I started as a prosecutor and prosecuting patents, and that, morphed into a patent group and a larger patent group and so on. I got very involved in acquisitions and transactions back prior to my Microsoft days when I was at Qualcomm. And again, they're sort of doing those aspects of diligence related to an acquisition well, sort of sets you up for the next role. But I really think the main thing was maintaining good relationships and contacts in the field. My Microsoft role didn't come about out of Microsoft applying, putting a request out there and I applied. I did not apply for the job. I was approached, and I was approached because of relationships that we had. In fact, the person who was instrumental in hiring me, when we first started talking, he was like, "I'm not even sure what I need yet. We should keep talking and figure out what the role should be and what should it look like." And it probably took us 3 or 4 months of going back and forth before we decided what the scope of the role would be and what needed to be done. And then we sort of executed on it. That wouldn't have happened without having good relationships.
Sure.
So,
right.
I've often told people, like, the last time I did a resume was 25 years ago. Like, each job that I've had has been being approached by someone else, not actually applying for it.
Okay, so we're back and we're finishing up from yesterday. I'm not sure exactly where we were, Micky, but let's just start with where did you go to law school?
Well, I went to law school where you're going to law school. So I went to Franklin Pierce, as it was called at the time, before the merger with UNH. But yeah, Franklin Pierce, and so in the mid 90s. So my time frame was 94 to 97, just as the internet was bubbling up. and loved every minute of it.
Okay, and just like Cotter, you're back. That's a old reference to that old show.
That's true.
Welcome back, Cotter.
That is true.
So, can you tell everyone about your role now?
Yeah, so I'm director of intellectual property programs there. What that means is I do a lot of the design of the classes themselves. What courses should we offer? What courses should we discontinue? Where should we do some of these classes that we're in Dallas, Texas today? Part of that was this design, having a class focused on patent litigation in Dallas, having the students come here and hear directly from the practitioners. And so that's what I tend to focus on. And I also teach classes from time to time. I've taught a patent law class, I've taught some intro to IP classes, and I'll probably end up teaching some licensing classes later on.
Yeah, great. So one final thing, and again, thank you for your time. So for a potential student or someone just starting law school, I guess those are two completely different questions. But for someone considering applying to law school and picking their program, is there any advice that you could offer?
Absolutely. So I think if you know the specialty that you're going into, I encourage you to go to a school that really emphasizes that program. And so for Franklin Pierce, that's intellectual property, but for another school that might be environmental or whatever. But for intellectual property, I think it's really important to go to an intellectual property school because the graduates all work in that space and you run into them over and over and over again. So, I mean, this kind of goes into the career advice piece, but I think networking is really, really huge. And by going to Franklin Pierce, you're graduating with, say, 50 to 75 people that are going to be in intellectual property space, and you will keep running into them 5 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later. And, what happened for me is that, 15 years later, some number of those graduates are now running IP departments. They're chief patent counsel of companies, they're heads of firms, they're heads of patent offices in different countries. And so that network effect really kicks in. So cool. If you were to do environmental law, maybe Vermont or Oregon's the place, and you would find something similar. So I do think for people applying, go to a place that's sort of that is specialized in it. I think it's just a huge benefit through your career.
Oh, right. That's great. All right. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Micky. You've been exceedingly gracious, and I really appreciate it. And this interview, I'm glad we did it. I wish I had planned it better and maybe came up with better questions, but I feel like you gave me so much food for thought, and it's been really encouraging and a real pleasure talking to you. So to everybody else, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for sticking with me through all of my journey. And if you're new and you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, and smash the reminder bell. I guess that's the thing people do. I'm sorry. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks.